All right, folks, welcome to another edition here of Radio's Yard. As you can see right next to me, I have two beautiful gentlemen here, CJ and JT, and we have a huge week, guys. This is big, not just for us here in the house and the hobby, and we'll get to that in a second as well. But the NFL draft is coming up this week. We're going to talk a little bit about the top of the first round with my two experts here. A couple of the hits, the guys that we all know at this point. I think we can come to a consensus here, and you can see on the betting apps also. Cam Ward's going to be the number one pick overall, easily.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you guys are in the same boat. CJ,
It's given.
You're the latest college football guy for me as well. Cam Ward's play deserved now that number one pick, correct?
Yes, 100%. You know, seeing what he did at Washington State, not just at Miami, even before that, he put up numbers. You know, Washington State right now is a breeding ground for quarterbacks to go to a different school after and perform. I mean, Cam Ward did it first, and now you got John Matera at Oklahoma,
right?
Yeah,
which is probably
we're excited. We're excited about him. Yeah,
and the perfect transition to JT on that one there. Yes, Cam Ward is going to go number one. He is that, and I know Will Levis is still sitting there too, but you can't pass on Cam Ward.
I think with Will, he's had 2 years with that offense and that program. I think Cam Ward, he's going to have a very, very good opportunity to go in there and change that culture around. And I think he's the most NFL-ready quarterback. You talk about guys that are like NFL-ready.
Right.
Cam Ward he's cool, he's calm, he's collective. You know, he can make a throw under pressure. He's that guy for that Tennessee offense, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be fun to see him in that Tennessee offense, see how he is now in the pros. I know that we talk about the college to pro. It's a difference. There is. We know personally a couple people that know that also. But I look at it also as if that's the fit, if Cam Ward's going to fit in there perfect, then it's going to be a good – it's going to be the GM now to fit people around him, obviously. We'll get into all the stuff, and we'll get into the post-draft stuff with these two guys also. But now the draft starts at 2 with Cleveland. If we know that Tennessee is going to take Cam Ward, it starts now at Cleveland. Is it going to be a quarterback? Is it going to be a running back? Is it going to be an offensive lineman? Is it going to be one of those other guys? JT, I'll start with you. What do you think? Because I didn't mention a certain position now because the guy plays 2 positions, and I think he should be the number 2 pick. But where do you see Cleveland going to here?
So, a lot of analysts, their mock drafts, they have Cleveland taking Shadur Sanders, right? I don't think Cleveland should – I don't think they're even looking in that direction as far in the first round right here. I don't think they're looking at quarterback.
Right.
I don't think, why would you take I wouldn't say a mid quarterback, but not a great quarterback in the second overall pick and leave a generational player, a generational offensive, defensive player, two-way guy on the table. I think they're going to go with Travis Hunter at the second overall pick. Travis Hunter's whenever I see Travis Hunter on offense, I think of Justin Jefferson. He's slippery. He's got great routes. He can make guys miss. And then on defense, it's like Sauce Gardner out there. It's like Justin Jefferson, Sauce Gardner had a baby, and there's Travis Hunter. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Cleveland a while back, they took Jabril Peppers back in the day. You remember that guy from Michigan? He plays on the Patriots now.
The same exact thing.
So he was a two-way guy. He played offense, defense, special teams as well in Michigan. He rarely left the field. They like those guys that are playing, both ways, and I think that they're gonna replicate that there with this second overall pick and take Travis Hunter.
You think the same thing, Steve?
I think the same thing, and like you said, you brought up Jabril Peppers. That's a great point. The NFL has evolved over the past few years, and when Jabril came out, it wasn't as flashy and stuff on the offensive side of the ball. But on defense, he played mainly defense, and he had certain packages and stuff in Cleveland. But now that the NFL is evolving, and Travis Hunter is a prime example of it, someone coming from college playing both ways predominantly and playing 60 to 70 snaps a game. Yeah. It'll be, I wouldn't say an easy transition, but it'll be a lot smoother than when they did it with Jabril Peppers with the way the offenses and stuff is going. Yeah. And then we could go into, do you think he's going to play 60 to 70 snaps in a game? Another thing a lot of people don't realize in the NFL, you don't play as many snaps in college. You're going to play a good maybe 40 to 50 snaps a game in the offense and on defense. So if you look into it in a deep way, he's not going to be playing as much as he did in college.
Right.
No way.
He's not going to be getting as many reps.
I don't think so either.
Right.
But to protect him for the longevity of his career, if I was the OC or a defensive coordinator or head coach, I'm starting Travis Hunter on defense.
Wow. Interesting.
I'm starting him on defense, and I'm giving him 4 to 5 packages each week game plan based on what the defense is showing us to put him in positions to make plays and make an impact on the offensive side
Agree
of
or
the ball.
disagree? Would you
I
start him at DB or start
agree.
wide
I
receiver?
agree.
Okay.
I agree. Starting him at DB. I think starting him just in one position. I don't think he should be playing two ways in the NFL. I think if you really, because I mean, this is the NFL. You got guys out there. You got so many,
the best
of the best, right? So and it's crazy to me also that like playing both ways and then not even getting tired. This guy's stamina, the shape that this guy's in, it is world class, and
wow.
It's insane. But if this guy can really perfect his craft and on one side of the ball, imagine how good this guy's gonna be.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
I look at the Travis Hunter as an enigma right now in the NFL because of the fact that he does want to play both. Most guys won't want to do that. I'm better at this than that. Mm-hmm. He's so good at both. It's going to be a tough decision, like CJ said, for that OC or DC to say. I mean, they're going to be fighting. There's going to be
100%.
like you're going to be in the Cleveland coaching staff in these meetings, and the DC is going to say, "I want him more here," and the OC is going to say, "No, look what he could do for our offense. He could change the offense. He could be that guy out there." And I think, CJ, you pointed out to this before, the NFL has come to a weird point where for a while it was like left tackle, cornerback, quarterback, and right defensive end. That was the four top dogs. Those are the four most paid guys. And then all of a sudden we moved into that wide receiver mark.
Bro,
where like if you're Jefferson, if you're one of these top guys, you're going to get 40, 50. Jamar Chase, we just saw $50 million. You're going to get a huge bonus. You're going to get 40 plus million a year. So Travis Hunter's got a weird decision he's going to probably have to make, maybe not this year, maybe in the next couple of years, of where do you want to go, because that second contract, we all know that's what these guys are playing for.
That's a very valid point, and I was talking about it a few nights ago with my friends. Like, when it comes to that second contract, a lot of people don't know you make your most money in NFL on your second contract.
Right? Yeah.
So are you going to pay him as a receiver, or are you going to pay him as a DB? Or are you going to split it? Either way, Travis Hunter's coming out of this contract. If Cleveland won't do it, he's going to find someone that's going to pay him that money he deserves for playing both sides of the ball. So that's why it's evident that he's going into the league where he's going to make the most money. He's going to be a first-round guy. He's going to make millions.
Right.
Already.
Yeah.
Right.
Signing bonus.
So that second contract, just imagine what that's going to look like for him playing both sides of the ball, because he's going to have, when it comes to contract, they look at your snap counts, they look at your efficiency on those snap counts, and they see how developed and stuff you go throughout those years of your first rookie contract, which is normally 4 years in the first round.
Right. I just wonder what it's going to be like in those contract
crazy.
discussions
It's gonna be
in
crazy.
a couple years, when, if it's all the way we are looking at it right now, he ends up being a top 3 cornerback, top 5 wide receiver in the league.
Categories.
Yeah.
Goes in those contract negotiations and says, this is what the number 3 wide receiver in the league makes. This is what a top 5 DB makes. Where are we coming to something in the middle for both? Because I get that Justin Jefferson and Chase are making 40 plus million. I get that the top cornerbacks in the league are making 35 to 40 million. Where's my 60 million a year for doing both? It'll be interesting how that goes, right?
Or there's a scenario which could happen where maybe Jerry Jeudy gets hurt.
Right.
And maybe they move Travis Hunter, if he's playing corner, they move him to the offensive side of the ball. They always got that weapon in their back pocket, right? And I don't think you can go wrong with either way.
And that's why I think it's tough not to pick a guy like Travis Hunter. If Cam Ward's going to go one, and we all know that at this point, how do you pass him up? Now, I do know Abdul Carter's sitting there. I do know there's
another big name.
There's huge names, especially if you need someone on defense. It's tough because that quarterback position, we just talked about it before with Shador, with Jackson Dart, guys like that. We know that today, as we're taping this, maybe that they're not slotted in the 5th spot. Draft night, things change. Teams get desperate. Teams get worried. We talked about the Saints right beforehand. You never know what's going to happen with them. You look around who might have an aging quarterback that wants to get in with that young guy. Maybe Jackson Dart not slotted in right now as a first-round guy. I would be shocked if Shador and Jackson Dart are not first-round picks come Thursday night because of desperation in the NFL 100%. For finding that spot right there. But let's go back to that, because now, if we're at the 3rd pick now, it's the Giants. We'll talk about the first 5 or 6 picks, and that's about it here. Where do the Giants go here? Because the Giants sort of need a quarterback, although they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston there, at least for this year. But how do you pass on a guy if you think Shador or Jackson Dart's your guy? And then you look at that defensive line. Can you imagine adding Abdul Carter to that defensive line as well?
That's the twist right there. It's a very interesting draft with these players left. I think the Giants should easily go Abdul Carter to help Thibodeau. Jesus Christ, because I've seen him play firsthand when he was at Oregon. He's a dog.
Yep.
If you put someone else on the other side of him, it's gonna be dangerous.
It's wraps.
And like you said before we started, like Eagles is known for their defensive line.
Right.
Imagine they get Abdul. That's another mini Michael Parsons right there.
Right. You talk about and JT was saying this before. Dexter Lawrence,
Wow,
Thibodeau, Brian Burns is still there too. We're forgetting about all these guys.
Yeah.
Right?
People are saying, they can hear me, but a lot of people are saying that if they do draft Abdul, they're gonna trade Thibodeau.
Oh, it gives you that option.
Yeah, that is true.
Right.
That
You
is
talk
true.
about all the young guys there. Burns just got paid. Lawrence just got paid. Thibodeau's going to be up in another year. And then you're bringing in Abdul Carter. Maybe a smart move if that is the case, if the GM is thinking that at this point. But you also got to remember, let's go back a year to that Hard Knocks when we went with the Giants, and we saw him literally say, we're not going to pay Saquon Barkley, a guy who was nearly the MVP of the league and probably the best player in the league overall.
The Giants will find a way to mess up.
The kid is the one who said we should probably trade up and get Jaden Daniels. I don't know if Jaden Daniels is the guy. Jaden Daniels is the number one guy.
Yes.
Not
He is
just
in
in our
fact
building
the
in the
guy.
hobby, right?
He's in
But in
fact
the
the
league, he's a
guy.
top 5 quarterback now.
Yeah.
So the pressure is on, I think, the Giants GM to not mess this up. And I think with that said, that's why like a guy like Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders off the table for me. Because if you don't bring in a guy, even a Jeanty at that point, to bring in that you know is a solid guy, a solid workhorse, the guy's going to start from day one, it's kind of scary at that point. But how, if you need a quarterback, do you pass right now on Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders? It's scary, not? It's scary.
Yeah, it is. It's a very interesting position for the Giants because you got this guy it reminds you a lot of that guy that's coming off the edge for the Dallas Cowboys
Right.
and Michael
Right.
Parsons. You know,
It's
you
tough
got
to pass.
you got Abdul Carter, who I didn't realize this guy was even bigger than Michael Parsons, but
huge.
he's bigger. He's bigger than Michael Parsons. They're the same height. He weighs a little bit more. You know, I think it's like a 20 pound difference with Abdul and Michael Parsons. But, you know, his 40-yard dash time really, I mean, it's a little bit slower than Micah, but it's I mean, you talk about that 15-20 pounds difference. If he can cut maybe just a little bit,
Coming off
you
the
know,
edge, that's all you got to worry about.
he's coming off the edge, right? He's got that explosiveness. And I saw this guy play in person. It was Notre Dame versus Penn State, and Abdul Carter is just a menace. He was licking his chops coming after Riley Leonard, man, and it was very, very cool to see Abdul Carter in person. Watching that guy, he's a force, man. High motor guy, you know, ready to go, ready to rumble.
Listen, if I'm drafting in the top 5, it's tough to, especially in this league, like we've been talking about, the certain positions that are the ideal number 1 A+ paid positions. Defensive end, pass rusher is one of those. It will always be one of those. As long as the league is still a passing league, you need a guy to rush the quarterback.
Yeah.
But then again, now with that said, we're not hearing a lot about offensive linemen early. Like, we're hearing about offensive linemen in the first round, but then all of a sudden we get to that 4th pick. New England is sitting there.
Yep.
If I'm New England at this point and a Travis Hunter is still sitting there, I'm not even waiting. I'm grabbing him. Abdul Carter is still waiting there. I'm not even waiting. I'm going to go get him. But then it comes down to, do you want to take that 4th pick on an offensive lineman if it's sitting there, because you got Drake May there now.
Yep.
There's been rumors about Philly trading in with A.J. Brown for that 4th pick. Who knows what's going to end up happening there.
Anything can happen.
But if you're the Pats right now, I'm kind of just sitting back, and you're forced to sit back.
Yeah, just wait.
Just wait. Wait for the phone to ring. Wait to see what happens to the first 3 picks. But let's say it goes chalk like we said. Abdul Carter's off the board. Hunter's off the board. Cam Ward is off the board. New England's up. The phone's ringing, but you're not sexy enough. It's not sexy. It's not extra first. It's not anything like that. If you're New England, do you take the O-lineman? Is that where you go at that point?
I think you got – I mean, if like you said, if it's going the way we think it's going to go, I mean, I think you got to protect your guy. You got to protect – You got to protect the future of New England. You got to go get – in my opinion, you got to go get Will Campbell.
Right.
You got to go get the big dog from LSU. You know, a guy that's very, very good in his position. A guy that's not going to let up a lot of, you know, he's not going to let up a lot of pressure.
Right.
You know, against or for Drake May. So I think you go and get Will Campbell at LSU. He's the top guy in my opinion as far as offensive linemen go in this draft, and I think that's who they should pick.
Easily, as New England, it is a very tough spot.
Right, it is.
I would say that 4th
tough
pick.
But good spot. Tough,
Yeah,
but
it's
good.
tough. It's
right.
good.
But
People forget they put themselves in that.
No, they did.
No, of course
They did.
You
With
went
Joe
an extra
Milton
game.
game.
Right.
They did.
Right. Shout out to Joe Milton out there,
yeah.
right? From all the Dolphin fans out there. Thank you.
Like JT said, Will Campbell, he's the best in the draft,
Right.
obviously. And if you have that fourth pick, and he's obviously, in my opinion, he's going to be available. If I'm New England, I would just take that because, like you said, Drake May's the future.
Right.
You have to protect your quarterback over the future, and he showed glimpses of being great, showed glimpses of mishaps, but he's a rookie. If you put some old lineman in front of him and show that he has time to throw the ball, I guarantee he'll be able to develop into somebody big.
Just a superstar in the league. That's what you're hoping for. When you draft a quarterback that high, when you draft a first-round quarterback, you want them to be the next big thing. Of course, every team does.
Pray.
Cam Ward,
you hope and you pray.
Cam Ward, Shador, Jackson Dart. If those guys are all the 3 first-round picks, if they end up being that, you're just hoping these guys turn into it. If New Orleans moves up, another team moves up, that's what you're hoping at this point. One last guy I want to talk about before we talk a little bit about the hobby. I think he could be the best player overall in the draft, but he's a running back. So you know what happens with running backs in the draft. Guys are talking about trading up to get him, or is someone going to trade? If we're at that 5 pick right now, I think Jacksonville's on the board at this point. They have been linked to Mason Graham, the defensive tackle. They've been linked to Campbell.
Yep.
They've been linked to everybody. Now, all of a sudden, in every mock draft I'm watching in these last 24 hours, Jeanty's not going anywhere past 5. Jacksonville's going to take him. Good pick or not, 5th pick overall on a running back for Jeanty. We'll start with CJ.
Listen, a lot of people aren't going to like me for this one. I'll be honest. Jeanty's a great back.
Yep.
I think that Penn State game showed me a lot about Jeanty and a lot about Boise State.
Okay.
This is where I'm going to get a lot of
Spit it
comments
out.
on
I'm ready to hear.
Sure.
Jeanty's a great back, but I do not think he's a first-round back.
Wow.
I am scared for his development into the NFL.
Okay.
Listen, there's a difference when you're playing Division I football, Power 5, and all that. Everybody knows there's a difference. He played in the Mountain West. No disrespect to Mountain West.
Okay.
At all.
No disrespect.
No disrespect.
No
No,
disrespect to
no.
the Mountain West
Now,
Conference.
look, everybody's
going
to say, look what he did against Oregon. I say the same thing about Oregon for the past 5 years. I played against them all my career. Oregon is good at the beginning of the year, but when it comes down to the big games, they're not good.
Yeah.
He torched Oregon, yes. He tore up the Mountain West.
Right.
But when it came down to playing a solid talent, yes, you can blame his O-line and stuff like that. He did
Sure
what he
you can.
could. I can't see him going in the first round.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
tough.
think that's crazy.
I know it is. It's a hot take.
I feel like I
I
was
think-
in the middle of this.
Did you feel
I
it?
felt it as I was
Yeah,
throwing
I-
it in.
I think
Right
that's-
when I started with CJ, I almost felt like my wife kicked me under the table for that.
I think
Yeah,
that's crazy. I think Marshawn Lynch. I was gonna say Ashton Jeanty. I think Ashton Jeanty's Marshawn Lynch. I think he's
Right.
literally Marshawn Lynch. I mean, this guy is a bull in a china shop whenever he gets that ball. You look at his yards after contact, like this guy. You know, I'm not sure the exact number on it, but I mean, it's phenomenal. And I know, like you said, no disrespect to the Mountain West Conference, no disrespect, but if he could play behind an offensive line like like Alabama or LSU or any of these guys, I think this guy he's gonna produce close to the numbers that he produced this year in the Mountain West Conference. And also, yeah, I mean, he's just I don't think that the Jags would be too wrong at picking him at 5, but
Jags,
I don't think
Raiders, Bears, a lot of these teams.
I don't
want him,
think
right.
that's in my opinion. I don't think that's what they need.
Right.
They have Tank Bigsby. They have ETN. And I just don't think that's what they need. I think that they need to go with the Mason Graham guy.
Yeah,
out of
the
Michigan.
best defensive tackle in the draft at
Yeah.
that point as well. Another guy we need to talk about, we need to bring him up. He has been a topic of conversation. Obviously, his dad is prime time. He's Shador Sanders, plays with Travis Hunter. Probably one of the craziest names so far because some people have him up close, top 5, top 7 pick. Some guys have him out of the first round. I don't know even now that's possible at that point also. I need a Shador Sanders take from each one of you. JT, I'll start with you. Where do you see him going? What do you think the future is for Shador Sanders?
So there's a couple of lanes, right? I'm gonna take you down the first lane of what could happen. So, and the Saints have the number 9 pick.
Right.
Do I think the Saints are going to take Shador? No. Can they take Shador? Yes. They have him at the number 9 pick. I don't think that they're going to take Shador at the number 9 pick. I think Pittsburgh might trade up and go get Shador Sanders. That's a possibility. And I think the Saints are going to take Jackson Dart as well.
Wow.
But yeah, I think Pittsburgh's going to trade up and go get Shador.
I like that. What a take. CJ,
that's actually a great take. I agree. I would take – we talked about this a little bit before. I would take Jackson Dart over Shador right now.
Me too.
Just based off of seeing his
100%.
play and seeing it in person, like it's different. But in my opinion, I think he falls out of the 15. I think he goes late in the first round.
Okay.
Still, though. I still think he goes late in the first round.
Okay.
Some team's gonna pick him up, put him behind somebody. You know, they're gonna love the media. The media's gonna eat it up. You know, obviously it's gonna get a lot of attention and stuff. And that's what people don't realize. The NFL's a business. At the end of the day, it's a real big business. So any team that does pick him off, they're gonna use that. And then, preseason's going to be hyped because obviously he's going to be playing a lot more and stuff like that. So they're just going to feed off of that. But at the beginning of this college season, he was easily, I would say, a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
But then, you start looking to more in depth about, like, how he plays and stuff like that. And, he protects his pass percentage by taking sacks. If he didn't do that, how different of the season they would have had and stuff like that.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing Shedeur Sanders. I'll say this about Shedeur Sanders. One thing I really, really do not like about this guy. Yes, your dad's Deion Sanders. Yes, you had a decent season, not a great season.
Right.
You had a decent season at Colorado. The entitlement that is coming off from this kid.
Yeah,
it's you got to be entitled.
In the NFL draft process, we all know that.
To be entitled, you have to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're good, sometimes you're entitled, right? So like it has to go. You have to be both.
Yeah, you have to.
You can't be entitled and be an average player. And I think, and I'm not calling him necessarily average, but he's not great.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that.
And it's kind of some of these teams. It's kind of not attractive to them.
That's why
right?
he dropped. That's why he
Teams,
dropped
right.
so much, in my opinion.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, like he's not terrible. He's not a bad quarterback
Right,
at all.
right.
Like he's accurate. He has a big arm and stuff like that. He showcased it. But like when it comes to like putting your like an instance like this, putting him in front of the camera and stuff like that. When it comes to talking about other players, like is he gonna like boast about his play instead of like other players? Which
Yes.
in
Yeah.
certain interviews, you've seen him like shy off and like talk about his receivers and stuff like that. But when he gets to this higher level, it's gonna be a different kind. Like you're rolling in a lot more money than you used to.
Right.
Yeah,
You're
bro.
seeing a lot more things differently. Are you gonna give props to the ones around you? At the end of the day, are you gonna like, oh yeah, I did this wrong. Yeah, he didn't do this. Like, are you gonna be that kind of guy?
No
agree.
eyes. No eyes when you get to the NFL.
you.
Right,
That's
man.
Us, and them. That's what it's going to be about.
But yeah, I think like Pittsburgh, their quarterback situation. They have Mason Rudolph. Shout out Oklahoma State. Go Cowboys. But yeah, Mason Rudolph. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Still shocks me he's still in the Steelers.
Right. This guy's a backup quarterback,
Right.
and I think they're going to get antsy, like you were talking about earlier. These teams, they get ants in their pants, and then I think Pittsburgh's going to be that team that has some ants in their pants, and then they're going to trade up and take Shedeur Sanders.
Right. I think that one of those two teams or both those teams, once they find out another team might be calling about that 8th or 5th pick or whatever it is, then someone else jumps about it. That's the beauty of the draft as well there. All right. That's going to be kind of our draft coverage. I want to ask this, because we're going to get more into these two guys are going to join me all the time when we talk about draft. We'll do a recap of the draft next week as well. We'll be all over the place. That's what you're going to get here on the network. And we're going to announce the network name in a couple days. I don't want to say it yet, but these guys like it.
It's good.
The hobby, what we do here upstairs, we're breaking cards, the whole deal. We just named a bunch of names.
Yeah.
The entire chaser list for us, folks, changes in 4 days, 5 days. For everyone out there who's going to be buying cards, it all changes. Jeanty, Shedeur, Cam Ward. Defensive players don't get that much love when it comes to the cards, but I think that Abdul Carter is going to be a chase at that
For
point,
sure.
too. How do you Travis Hunter. How does this
he's
all
gonna be a
change?
chase.
JT, I'll start with you here. Give me your hot take on how it's all going to change for us come Friday morning now.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got guys that in this class, I mean, it's not like last year's, right? It's not, you don't have 6 quarterbacks going in the first round, right? So you got it's a little bit change of flavor,
Right.
as I like to say. And it's cool that, we get to go hunt some different guys. Now, that's the beautiful thing about the hobby. It changes every single year of who you're hunting, who you're chasing. And I'm personally, who I'm most excited about is chasing after Ashton Jeanty cards. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I got a chance to rip a bunch of that Bowman U product, which is really, really cool. And you look at Ashton Jeanty's autos right now. His autos are selling for
Shout out to everyone who buys miscellaneous and all the bracelets.
Yeah, shout out miscellaneous.
Just
but
throwing that out there.
His autos are selling on eBay right now, and it's as they should. Look at the year that this guy had. I personally think, he might have got snubbed of a Heisman. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Right?
I like it. Siege, end with you. What do you think?
It's going to be crazy for sure. Like you said, shout out to Bowman U. You're getting a pre-glimpse of what the NFL products and stuff are going to look like. And another thing I think is going to play huge into it, NIL feel like it played a huge deal into it.
Yeah.
Because, Bowman's getting all these guys to sign and all these other card companies and stuff. So getting like a pre-glimpse of like the Jeanty cards, like you said, like the Travis Hunter's going to be huge. The Cam Ward's obviously.
It's exciting, man.
It's exciting. And, I try to get ahead of the curve a little bit, maybe too late or a little bit too early. I tried to buy a Cam Ward 101 pink.
Ooh.
And tried to.
Paperdasha or whatever it's called, Sapphire.
He
those are nice.
Tried to get me for a pretty penny, so I had to turn that one down.
Yeah, I tried to get you.
Obviously, I'm a big C Ward fan. I always will be. Washington State, I always remember him from there, but. I need to figure out who I want a PC now.
Right.
Coming up to
you better hurry up. We got until Friday before this all starts, right?
It's also just really cool seeing these guys, turn into like their new jerseys. Like what jersey are they going to be in? What jersey are we going to be collecting these guys in? Exactly. What number too? Because like in Origins, some of those cards they're wearing the 00 jersey number,
very
right?
odd, yeah.
But like, in most of the product, I mean, that's just really Origins. But in most products, they're going to be wearing that NFL number and that, obviously they're going to be in that new jersey too, which is very cool. It's always cool to see some of these guys in different jerseys.
Especially after
the
Fanatic shoot, where they go do it out in LA.
Yeah.
That's like all that stuff is
the
cool,
best part, like the best part of the draft, best part about when you bring it back to the hobby, like we always try to do here at all our pods that we're going to be doing anyway. JT, where's everyone catching you upstairs when you're breaking? Tell them the room.
What's up, guys? So I'm in Backyard Rips. I'm usually in the morning. Sometimes I'll go late at night, but usually I'm running at around 9 a.m. Eastern time in the morning on Backyard Rips.
That's it. CJ, what about you?
I am on Backyard Juice, a.k.a. Backyard Siege, but I will be bouncing around from room to room ripping new football products maybe. Who knows?
Whoa.
I am mainly entertainment right now, but, I can't stay away from football. It's been with me for a while now, but find me on Backyard
Love
Juice, 11 a.m.
For my guys, CJ, for JT, this has been our NFL Draft Special. I appreciate both of you guys sitting down here.
It's been awesome,
Coming to Radio's Yard for a little bit. Like I said, we'll have a major announcement coming up May 1st here for the podcast network that we have here in the backyard. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see a lot more of these two guys when we're getting the NFL season. We're going to have OTAs. We're going to have off-season, everything coming up.
Go.
And then all of a sudden, it all starts again. Once football season starts again. It'll be a long summer, but we'll get through it here on the network. So for the two guys, I'm Radio. Thanks for coming again